So, you asked Santa for a Quest VR headset for Christmas? Well, that makes sense. They're good value for money at the low price of selling one sold to Mark Zuckerberg. Again. And after your fill of mediocre foods and the traditional falling out with every single family member, including the unborn ones, you'll find yourself ready to play. But wait, you have no money left to spend. Well, are you in trouble? I downloaded 17 free Christmas/winter themed games in the Meta store and tried out 20 different Christmas Meta Horizon Worlds by Meta, so you don't have to. And you won't want to. Snowy. Nice logo. There's at least 2 pixels involved in this one. Excellent start. The first thing you see is Minecraft, followed by realizing this game has the worst form of locomotion ever placed into a 3D space. I think it's a knockoff version of Gorilla Tag, but I actually have taste in my games, so I don't know. You have to use your arms to crawl around like a monkey, well, a gorilla I suppose, and a single step might be the final boss. Go that way! That way. But at least it's not like every area is somehow 500 miles away from every other area, or that despite walking there's a loading screen anyway, so why walk there in the first place? This is like visiting your next door neighbour but somehow a train gets involved. Why? It's far easier and faster to restart the game than it is to walk back to the start. Not that it matters, because when walking out of the spawn, you can't get back up the cliff anyway. What fantastic level design this is! When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is phone an ambulance because the fall from my cliffside bed broke my legs again. Assuming you can ever get out of the spawn room sofa. Our hands rotate, but the arms don't. Yeah, I need a doctor. We look like Sackboy after his body fell into a coma following a stroke, and it's even worse if your arms are longer than the model because basic physics, they get thrown out of the window. But I got stuck in the air and then the window despawned. I got used to it after a while and even managed to walk halfway across the map, but my arms ended up absolutely killing me and I got stuck on every piece of furniture IKEA had on offer. Yeah, good luck. Also, turning your head collides with objects and is awful. How do you get such a basic thing wrong? And lo-fi beats suck, let it go already. The game then tells me outright that the leaderboard will break everything and that no one but me is online. Well, I wonder why that might be. Where could everyone possibly be that's better than this? It looks like a 3D artist shredded their first year portfolio in here, to the point where I'm half expecting a donut tutorial to pop up. I wouldn't be surprised either, considering the decorations include rubber ducks, beach balls, fire pits, and the most terrifying snowmen I've ever seen. Christmas psychological horror. There are 4 actual game modes on offer here. 1. Horror. This teleported me to a floating decking where I got stuck. Just call the joiner. Then I fell to my death, sweet mercy. Do you think this is going to be a reoccurring thing? You might as well look around, assuming your stomach has been resuscitated at the floating halo black hole, and observe the sights floating around a few miles away, like a microscopic zoo exhibit. Is there something interesting over there? Who knows? 2. Hiking modes. When I said I was sick of looking at the game, I didn't quite mean blind me as well. The monkey paw at work. As if it wasn't miserable enough already, it has an optional hard mode that amputates your arms to the shoulder instead of just at the wrist, as if the local maniac surgeon suddenly had a bet to win. Given the state of 3 survival mode, he might just be the local vet as well. Snowy has a microtransaction store because of course it does. $3 for... I don't know what that is actually because I'm too short. Hilarious. Don't worry about spending money because, well, you can't. When interacted with, it brought up an error message saying the store is broken and then it wouldn't go away, requiring a full reboot of the headset. But hey, if you want, you can look around the museum area at all the other broken stuff you can't buy too. And good news, it only takes 13 hours of playing this game and following more rules than UK roads to be considered trustworthy. Better yet, if you buy the begging developers a load of Discord garbage, they might consider giving you free in-game garbage that doesn't work too. How were so many people involved in the making of this slop anyway? What did you do? Did you all sit around watching one guy doing the work and then you felt you needed credits? Emotional moral support, snow-based credits? 4. Ice something, I don't know, who cares. See this water world? Good. Now pretend you didn't. I thought I could swim, which was a stupid idea in hindsight, but whatever. I sank and then bounced here, there and everywhere else, and even to someone with VR experience, this is not fun. It's like throwing your brain into a tumble dryer underwater on Mars. And what isn't water is ice, which is worse than PlayStation 1 era ice physics with some of the worst sound effects yet. £400 for a MetaQuest 3. Not pictured, I get it. And seemingly not a single ounce of quality control. But it's just the first game, right? Project Snow. Gee, this is taking a long time to load. Oh. It's the same movement again? No. Please no. R.I.P. shoulders. Why are we in a horror game? It's pretty eerie down here. Ominous silence, a saw arrow leading me to a trap, no doubt, and almost nothing to be seen. I'm already picturing amnesia monsters hanging out down here, exchanging human remains, wrapped up in bows. Tone? What's that? Consistency? We have a consistent movement system, more like consistent bowel movements. In the main area, assuming you can get there, you can pick up snowballs and throw them around with no physics issues whatsoever. How the hell did this happen? Not only is this terrible, it's wildly inconsistent, and with a little rebranding, it could have been a global warming based short horror film. Inside a treehouse, the game says I'm not connected to the internet, but how do you think I downloaded it to begin with? Mail order? Look, I can even browse the internet right now for portable privacy rights violator aviators, and if you feel like even more violation, you can steal from Kanye West of all people. All we get of any note is a hand menu full of coming soons. Yes, of course, absolutely, any day now. I'm still upset I once bought an early access game a decade ago and it's still in early access now. More like tardy access. Snowball Fight V2, an updated version of a game I played but forgot to record. Now that's ridiculous. Speaking of stupid, maybe don't kick things off with a Discord link that probably doesn't work. I knew it. And not just because I'm writing the script after filming. What, you couldn't even patch the game? You had to release a whole new instance? Doesn't this cost money? It would explain a lot if it didn't. Alright. Why are you here? Are you a beta tester? Is that why no one reported the bugs? Threat of decapitation? Were we going for a Halloween theme and we thought we'd just leave this around? Not only is there a severed head, but my hands have been severed too. How do you take something so terrible and manage to make it worse? I'm impressed. Maybe Meta is hiring. As much as I prefer not having arms, hands are what reassure me of what I'm interacting with in the game world. See? Now it's a real review. Not that it matters, because if you can't throw a stranger's severed head around very well, then what can you interact with? Not the snow, weirdly enough. What is with these games? None of them lets you walk with an analog stick, i.e. every game since around 1899, or use a basic VR teleport system. Dear Santa, hit me. Oh look, a tunnel that goes absolutely nowhere. What a brilliant metaphor for the game this is. And, oh, we have a NASA control room featuring not one but 2 rockets, neither of which do anything except remind you there's more interesting hobbies to be getting on with. Version 0.1 in a game literally named version 2? What's the build of this game? What does shipped mean? Are we gonna keep getting worse with every game until I inevitably end up with Pong? Entering your name doesn't work. The TV plays a seizure-inducing rap song. Alexa! But at least the clock is accurate. I'm assuming this is an entry-level Unity tutorial. And all of these games are Unity, if that wasn't obvious. You think buying the Steam frame and losing access to the Meta Store, all this quality content, will be an issue? I've seen people say that. But I would argue it's a bit like buying a new car and being worried you're gonna lose access to all that valuable rust. Christmas tagging. Oh, here we go. There's nothing here. It is a literal box. How do I remove my flesh without breaking the Christmas spirit? Not even a well-textured box. Is that even allowed? Maybe it is allowed if there's no game? Santa? Yeah, for Christmas, I would like one massive loophole. I can't escape my own depression. And I can't escape from this place either, but guess which one I prefer? XmasQuest. And, it's a third-person cutscene? Wait, no, I can control this. This is gameplay? Ah, it's a grid-based third-person game. Right. Why the hell is this in VR? Our character looks like she's wearing a trophy for hair, and I don't think electric blue hair dye existed back when castles were a common workplace environment. Her crack is out, and she's in bare feet, so what's the chances this was developed by a single teenage boy in his bedroom? We have 2D ninjas running around alongside 3D guards, both of which look like they came from completely different planets, so this has got to be an asset flip. The Unity Special. I need to speak to the king. Oh, do I really? I guess that's the king over there with the fancy rug. What, you couldn't afford a throne? Next you'll be telling me you don't have a butler. As was common in the old days, the peasant woman, I think, ended up inside the king. There's nothing to be done about it because the camera doesn't have anything to do with VR. Sorry, I can't quite hear you from inside your lungs. Someone's into this. I guarantee it. Well, it's not me. Clown has escaped from the local mental hospital. Okay, go to the local ghost library to find out and kill him. Right? This game is honestly great. It's so bad it swings back around to being incredible. Kind of like the new pile of robo-dung that is the new FNAF film. Tangent over because the king is still waiting to talk to me apparently. Helheim Castle, this is Helheim by the way, is a massive labyrinth of empty rooms featuring 900 2D Sonic ninjas, indoor windows and one single bed. Quite the timeshare. Not that the Excel spreadsheet map explains any of this, but you know what, I can understand it and it's amazingly accurate. What do you mean tapped to enlarge? Oh, this is a terrible Android game badly ported to VR, isn't it? I'm amazed. More amazed that someone got Excel to print out a document without doxing their own workplace correctly than the stairs. My god, look. Look at the stairs. I suspect this is absolutely someone's first Unity project. If I'm wrong, it should be someone's last Unity project. The upper section is identical to the lower section, right down to the throne room, minus the king and the throne. Guys, the delete key does exist for a reason. Quote-unquote hidden chests contain valuable items, such as gold, lethal weapons, and portions. Portions. One bag of chips, please. I eventually figured out that the triggers move the camera. VR, you say? What's that stand for? Venting radiation? Venting about some guys named Edge and Biggs? Take note, because this random ninja just said something incredibly significant. I understand if you don't believe me. Outside, we have a train station instead of a driveway. Yeah, she's all paid off. Look at this train, oh my god, it looks like something I drew in nursery but scaled up to fit a dragon. You can almost follow along with the Unity tutorial series the developer used for this just by playing the game. There's no world building at all. This is as mechanical as it gets. How can we get the player from A to B? Trains? Good. We'll place it down then, come on. The mix of 2D and 3D assets doesn't sit right with me either. The ticket dude is terrifying and Japanese apparently.
Tickets, please.
Ghost Town. It's full of literal ghosts. I didn't expect that, honestly. These guys are both friendly and helpful, so what's the big deal then? I see no issue with these guys as neighbours, especially not if they live above or below me. The nearest building features the... I'm tripping beyond belief. Learn to make a game while actively playing one. The pub, I think it's a pub, has the same castle guards, including this guy who tells me with absolute certainty that the local library was built by people before they died. Another blurts out that chemical warfare is what turned people into ghosts, and one who ran away from the army because they lied or something. A work of fiction for sure. Ghosts are trying to stop us with their fear of aura. I must have missed that when one welcomed me off the train, or do you just have raging social anxiety? The townhouses are too small to navigate, but we can trigger animations for going up and down the stairs in one single move, that for some reason the castle couldn't afford. There's that mechanical thing again. What does a video game have? Houses, okay? Next, ghosts. Alright, check, done. At the top it looks like I can choose one of 3 chests, but no, we are professional burglars and take everything, including the town map that this one random citizen had. Coming back down, Alice. Who? Alice has trouble getting out the door. If only you had this much trouble with the first door, we could have saved ourselves going through some ghostly trauma, such as turn-based combat. What? Who's that? Are you Clown? Who are you guys? Are you enemies? What's that pink grid? What's the capital of London anyway? It's clunky to change anything beyond the automatic attacks and defaults. These guys are Wedge and Biggs, by the way. They never say anything and they never appear outside of these combat scenarios. I have as much context as you do, but for whatever reason, they will fight to the death for us. As for tutorials, well, you're looking at it. Trial by confusion. The jump from real-time exploration to turn-based combat is very jarring, and the movement system changes from grid to circuit board? Choosing a path is a genuine pain, and it's kinda like picking a perk in Skyrim in VR. You do remember this is VR, right? As my guys get away, it gets harder to see what's happening. It's like your mum trying to read a meme on Facebook. The status bars don't scale, so I can't see them either, which is fine because I have no idea what they represent, and Clown, I think, runs off to his library. Then we do the same identical fight 2 more times in an extended graveyard. How many people died in this town, by the way? The library is actually a skyscraper. A floating skyscraper, apparently. I guess the first editions live in the penthouse. All the ghosts in here are quite rightly annoyed at me for interrupting quiet time and happily tell me where to go. These guys are the closest thing we get to characters. I love them. We climb the tower and go through another round of turn-based combat, except now I can't see what's happening over the books. All I can do is spam A and hope the AI companions do something correct and wait for the dead character's underpants to go flying Crash Bandicoot style. Guess what? That worked. Do it again 2 more times. Oh, what the hell is that blue thing? It looks like something that crawled out of Newgrounds 20 years ago. It's a bit of a bullet sponge and has no walking animations. Just interesting enough to stop me from being distracted by the terrible lighting. RTX on. Then he falls through the world. What a reoccurring theme this is. Clown, finally. Is that a smoke bomb? Is this a cutscene? The fireplace is a static JPEG, half the walls are missing. There are ghosts, not those ghosts. This dude is called Glasses despite not wearing glasses. No one believes in Santa. We're gonna go to the North Pole and bully him and his elves. You would think I was making this up. The music here is the worst so far in this game. I would like to say more on the matter, but let's face it, this is just a load of free tracks, maybe even stolen tracks from around the internet, so I won't play them anyway. But the taste overall, it's decent. Apart from this weird cowboy whistle thing that happens during combat. Then we wake back up at the castle's timeshare bed. How did I get back here? Was this a flashback? Was I the one that broke out of the mental hospital? Is this the hospital? No one says anything new or acknowledges anything that's just happened, apart from the king who now suggests we go to Goblin Town. Do you pay for the train tickets or what? What's happening here? Goblin Town is the same as Ghost Town, right down to the Blender tutorial pub. Give vinegar to someone who doesn't like unusual things? Well, this is unusual. The tiny draw distance makes me feel like this is someone's attempt to recreate Silent Hill using a real PlayStation 1 development kit. And Goblin Town ends with the same library fight setup. And so Wedge says to Biggs, the blue one and the red one are the same thing. Except this time, it is a multi-story car park made of grass, and the boss is red. Now that's replayability. This time, both companions went down. RIP, gone but not forgotten, because I never knew who you were to begin with. Assuming you were actually real to begin with. We have magic. This was never explained, so forgive me. Aha! I thought. This will be the brilliant final stand. The tables will turn. I shall have my revenge. Merry Christmas? Realistic snowboarding. Close enough for the Christmas theme, I would say. And it's my video, who's stopping me other than YouTube themselves? Realistic is a brave word to use considering the icon in this store, even if this is early access. Remember the unsinkable Titanic? Or the other one? You're inviting people on the internet to make fun of you. Decent skybox, decent sun, snow textures, not bad, wacky board. But we have to hold these weird default Unity pill things. I don't remember these being part of the snowboard anatomy. And getting said board to do anything is really difficult. Holding both these pills makes your hands disappear like some sort of anti-drug message in primary school. Then the snowboard contracts Parkinson's. See kids, this is what happens when you take too much Calpol. When I did get moving, within seconds I face planted and was forced to watch the board continue on without me. It done alright. It got enough speed to trigger an anime speed thing at the very least. You would think checking if the player was on board might be a basic suggestion, but here we are. Support your belongings dreams, I suppose. Go on, son. They grew up so fast. Upon retry, I made it all the way to the ramp, and the board didn't go up it correctly. It then wheelied away from me, and then the menu broke down. I accidentally found the tutorial, and it's just the developer playing his own game and recording themselves on the Quest video system, while complaining about his own game. How professional.
Ooh, it's not perfect, but allows you to kind of control movement a bit.
Oh, and you can buy new tracks. Once again, the store doesn't work, causing another error window that refused to go away, so it's another reboot. Maybe start with a decent game instead of jumping into trying to make money off of this. Welcome to being an artist. At best, this feels as miserable in VR as one would expect. I am not a snowboarder and no decent visuals will make me believe I am. This makes my brain feel like it does when I go to bed drunk, specifically when you deck it and the VR camera starts rolling down the hill. There are no walls of any kind around the edges, meaning it's easy to fly off the universe. No kill layer here either, so you restart again. Why is killing the player off when they fall out of the world always missing in these games? It's easy to implement. If player location.y less than -10, reset player. Fixed. To be fair, terminal velocity is kind of relaxing after a year or two. Where am I even going? There's like 3 paths all generally going downhill and they all look wildly different. My favourite is a giant bowl which you can't get back out of. Is this plane of snow the end? What, a goalpost or finish line was asking too much? How can you make a game like this and not give any signs or arrows pointing to the finish line? I wouldn't be surprised if the goal was above me at this point. Santa Cruz, living shorelines. Look, I was clutching at straws 2 games in. What did you expect? At least this one has Santa in the title. I call this a game, but a lecture may be more accurate.
Welcome to the Sea Level Rise Explorer. It's great to have you here. My name is Gary Griggs, and I'm a coastal geologist.
A guy tells us some stuff about global warming and sea levels rising, and well, it's honestly interesting. You probably know a decent chunk of it. $9 grand a year, please. The room is decent in terms of modelling, but these JPEG views to the windows are incredibly distracting because of the quality juxtaposition. The interactive water level isn't stunning gameplay, but it gets the point across. The 3D map is a nice idea, but it was clearly done quick and or cheap, and looks more like it's melting than flooding, ironically. As was the voiceover. Done quick, I mean not melting. You can clearly hear where the recording sessions are split.
Circle to the right and see what would happen to these areas. Have you ever been in a blimp or a dirigible before?
We have to answer the odd question, and I didn't have the heart to say anything other than what I suspected the lecturer wanted me to say. I don't think his mental health would handle a disagreement. Mediocre. We have 3 areas we can watch suffer and another shot from the Priduin. From up here you can almost see where I went on holiday for my last birthday, which is hilarious. POV, you are a billionaire watching the world die. Oh look honey, peasants. Where's the sniper rifle? The idea is here, but it's just a static 360 image wrapped around a balloon where all the effort appears behind us. Images fade in and out to portray the world dying and is entirely unanimated. Perfect, I learned much. Moving on. Snow... something. A realistic snowstorm drive. Maybe at least have the game start in a garage or something realistic and not a cubic void. Or maybe double check your tutorial voiceover doesn't have production problems.
The most important thing to note.
It's called a pop filter and they cost nothing. As does watching a colour scheme tutorial. What the hell is this? You didn't even think to use road sign colour coordination as a soft intro to what is very important part of being on the road? Advanced controls, ah yes, only power users know what a gear is. I've never driven in VR before, but this is surprisingly competent. You hold either side of the round thing and then it turns. Absolute wizardry. The highway even realistically starts from absolutely nothing, but it's all good because the invisible wall stops us from driving the car, just like real life. That is one terrible wrong way sign. Here's a wild driving idea. Going both ways is fine, as long as you're on the correct side of the road. It looks half decent inside and outside of this car, but the car only has one gear and it sounds like it's ready to explode. Mechanics, look away now, because this is mechanical torture. Realistic wait for roadside assistance when? Oh god, what's that noise? How do I stop it? What's that siren? What do you mean, snowstorm? What's happening? This is so unpleasant on the eardrums. A total mess of distortion, and for what? A pointless Twitter alert I don't want? Is that it? Twitter on a tablet is far more dangerous than snow is ever going to be. Surprise ad! I suppose this is realistic. The first hair of snow on the road and everyone does forget how to drive. Like, what happened to you? I, not to brag, had no trouble driving here at all, even when I tried going in reverse until the game eventually got sick of me and forced me to turn 90 degrees straight into the barrier. If you're going to make a game like this, maybe make it really hard so I actually can't drive and crash, thus proving your point in the correct direction. It's just a thought. Then the narrator goes on about road safety. 1. Could you not have gamified this? 2. I'm dead. Dead serious about moving on to the next game early. 3. Caught in a pile-up? Caught in a pile of something, alright. Attempt 2. Speed racer on his way to the local McDonald's car park to not buy a McDonald's crashed into me, but this was still my fault apparently. Attempt 3. A terrible pile-up does appear out of thin air and on the other side is Resident Evil 2. But upon reversing away like a responsible guy, I hit a phantom and got sent to the same driving school class anyway, so bugger it. Let's go all in. Darned snow. You never know what snow is gonna snow next. By the way, your goal here is to take the exit. I'm explaining that because no one else bothered to. I noticed it very gracefully. Crashing is fine as long as it's intentional. A victimless, crimeless crime for which there is no defense.
Well done.
If you can't beat it, weaponize it. Full disclosure, this game isn't free, but the free tutorial was more than enough. Once again, this feels like a mobile game, but at least it has good animations, models, textures, music, and gameplay for a change. Not gameplay actually, the gameplay lets it down. The hand crank on the minigun got old after about 2.3 seconds and I don't see things evolving too much further. It's less than responsive and sometimes easier to wiggle it back and forth for single shots, you know, not like a minigun. The arm is way too big to use reliably in VR and the aiming reticle is completely useless and basically in the wrong place relative to where I'm standing. But the ice cream scooper is a nice touch. Aiming to the far sides is surprisingly difficult and even if you can do it will trigger Meta's boundary blackout. Ah yes, now I can see my enemies much better. Which are unimaginative fire things, heartburn personified. Once again, what's the basics of a game? Be in place and defend it from element-based enemies of the opposite typing for 3 to 5 waves. My god, it's Pokemon. Even the cliché explosive red barrels have been checked off. There's no notice where enemies are coming from. You could be taking damage out of sight. I'm not sure what I'm specifically defending here either. Those fences? The snowman shopkeeper? Ah, to hell with them, I'm going home. Within 2 levels you'll be bored of the gameplay and while there's decent upgrades, I'm not convinced this would keep anyone entertained by the time New Year's Eve rolls around and I'm already getting wound up by the minigun ready voice line.
Minigun is ready. Minigun is ready. Minigun is ready. Minigun is minigun. 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 Minigun is minigun is ready. Minigun is ready.
Totally broken. Just in time for the trial to expire. Project Snow Reborn? Oh no, please no. You can't keep making me walk like this. Lucky me then, this is Project Snow, except Project Snow Reborn cut out the snow. Project. It's the same old garbage, including the same stump-broken system, but this time with slightly different variations of copyright theft. and now we can grind our quest to a halt with a dumbass meme aura, or all of them at once. Master aura, master aura. I climbed this tree because surely there's something, and I only have myself to blame. There's only one man we can choose to save Christmas now, and it's the man himself. Santa Saves Christmas VR V1. Oh, good start. I spawned inside the menu. There's a weird box that is not my gameplay boundary. Santa is in an RC helicopter that poops out presents and has laser guns. My brain has done that thing where it vacuum seals itself away for protection. I eventually got the hang of piloting Santa 747, but that's about it. And the important screen behind me, well, I can't see it, can I? It says something about a number of houses, but I only see 2, and guess what? I can't hit them for the life of me, and I don't think it's my fault. What am I shooting at? Oh, never mind, you know what? Let me shoot myself. Try and at least get one person outside of the development team to try it first. Maybe then you would know this is something people will bring to their therapist. When you inevitably give up with the quote-unquote games, you might stumble onto Meta Worlds. Meta hopes you will, considering they have spent well into the billions on this VR chat knockoff. The separate store that's also in the same store for some reason has endless AI diarrhea everywhere, icons that don't match the worlds themselves, endless copyright infringement, and microtransactions as far as the eye can render. You can call it a shopping experience all you want, but I'm not paying real money for a VR t-shirt, assuming it even works to begin with, that I can't even see. Count along with how much it would cost to buy every single item you see in this next segment. This is meant to be a social experience, yet only one person in 20 worlds actually said anything to me. Of course, I ignored him. But it doesn't matter because the sound didn't record. Unless you go in with a friend or a group, you won't be getting much socializing, so that begs the question, why not just play a real game instead, or, you know, go outside? Or turn to VR chat, which is the same idea, except infinitely better with countless models to use, places to call home, and get this, gameplay. Bad models, bad snow, bad gameplay, if there is any, creators advertising themselves, immersion-breaking portals to other worlds that tank performance and are ugly, no polish, awful loading times. I don't have a single good word to say about this whole subsection of the store / full world store. Why is this a separate store too? The few Christmas worlds that actually had gameplay beyond shopping, like carnival rides here, were awful, sickening, no physics, and pre-PlayStation 1 graphics, completely disconnected from the AI cover images. Oh look, AI being used to scam people. Who would have thought? Worlds is a bit like Gmod, except not as creative. More microtransactions, fewer game modes, less socialization, less custom content, worse loading times. No one in here can be bothered with the very same hobby they have forced themselves to partake in. There's even AI sludge microtransaction items where the displays didn't work. How Worlds is this bad is beyond me. It's the worst VR experience I've ever had, including the time the headset blew my head off. Yeah, 5 out of 10. The least offensive world I tried was an obstacle course because at least it tried its hand at some form of gameplay, even if it was easy. The worst, this was just a spot the difference between 2 terrible AI images. I have zero hope for the future of humanity, just end it already. If it's even possible, uninstall Worlds and don't look back. No, it won't be fixed. No, never. Hell, just use pass-through and scrap the immersive homeworld thing while you're at it. Are those Steam Frame pre-orders live yet? Please not again. Project Snowbound. I am amazed these games are developed by different people, honestly. Version 2, you say? It's the same stuff. Terrible locomotion, nothing works, copyright theft, dead servers, and broken interactions. The only difference being that instead of snow, we now get crystals. Like the crystal area from Dark Souls 1, which makes the sound of that one car drifting meme. Oh, and the developers left in the ability to spawn basic Unity objects. I spawned a bunch in and... yeah. There's a lift that either takes you to A, microtransaction limbo, where once again, bugger all works, or B, a bungee jump with no bungee. Ah, it's been a while since we saw this clip. Project Snowflake. There's a lot of projects going on here, isn't there? This is another lecture of a game that's kinda like the ride in Jurassic Park with the talking DNA. and it might be the scariest thing I have ever seen in VR.
I should have asked for a PlayStation.
We go on a journey being shrunken down to existential atomic levels while someone in a lab coat informs us about how electrons work in a sort of way a stoner that hangs out a bit too close to the local high school would.
What compelling force draws me into this mysterious darkness?
Ugh. Every one of these Christmas stories is exactly the same.
It is interesting stuff, but we'd literally sit still for the entire 6 minutes it takes to go through this. I'm not sure I get the horror music in the background. This is just some guy that's passionate about physics. No, wait, maybe that does make sense. Until the snowflake we are now inside of starts to melt. Now we can panic. Mixed with the never-ending shrinking, it's a fantastic horror experience. But I don't think horror was the point here. Our genius tour guide then starts to panic before bringing us back to full scale while staring at us down through a tool cover art. Horrifying. I don't see why the snowflake was needed for this, and it's the only reason I put it in this video. Science, the Christmas miracle that keeps on giving. We learned first year physics stuff, and by Boxing Day we will all have forgotten it. Again. Christmas MR celebrations. Saving the best for last, right? This game does have some effort put into its menu. I don't know why I'm in the sky, the music doesn't look properly, and snow appears out of nowhere. Once past the tutorials, the teleport system does not work, and there's no smooth locomotion either. The table full of decorations kept running away every time I tried to use it, and when I finally did select a bauble, guess what? I can't do anything with it. Fantastic.
That's it.
I am trying to do exactly what the instructions say, but until I went back to shoot more footage, and it occurred to me that the tutorial literally shows a hand, not a controller. Right, controllers down, hands on, let's go. I got stuck in the corner, then couldn't get out. This is the least reliable form of movement in this video, which is saying something, and is quite depressing when I have been a gorilla for half of it. A few questions. 1. Why force hand mode when the controllers show up fine in the menu? 2. Why not implement some basic analog stick teleport movement? 3. Why force hand tracking when having hand tracking disabled is an option that people might use that will break everything entirely? 4. Why the hell am I too high up to do anything? I did reset the boundary, I promise, and it's still broken. The tree decorating game now works, but it is pass-through, and apparently pass-through doesn't record properly, so I promise I actually live inside a grey void. It does work, but it's not really a game. The table of decorations continued to run away from me like it had somewhere more festive to be. Get back here! IKEA's Christmas parties aren't that good, you ungrateful little fern. Building toys works too. It's kinda cool using your hands, not gonna lie, but the only mechanic is click pieces together and that's it. You can't build abominations, and you can't mess around with the toys once you've built them either. Imagine the disappointment on my face when the car didn't move. You've ruined my son's Christmas. Yes, he's in his 30s, but still. And the time limit is a bit harsh. The best I could do when I honestly tried my best was 6 out of 8 copyright infringements. Merry Christmas. The other letters are coming next year, assuming we don't get a cease and desist first. Implement controller support? I would say this game is actually decent. The headset comes with controllers for a reason. Hand tracking isn't there yet. But pass-through? Yeah, that works. I felt like the tree was planted in the room.
Pot joke.
A relatively positive end for a load of festive feces. Hallelujah. Avoid anything on the Meta Store that's free or paid. Or the Meta Store. I feel like a miserable, dead inside tourist, and I'm not usually one to feel like a tourist. I hope distant relatives gave you some money to buy something worth playing, but never mind the free games, as you shouldn't. Worlds. What is the point of this trash? Every single world I saw was utter garbage. New rule, you either show what your world looks like for real in the store page, or you get binned. The hardware, even in the Quest 2, is fantastic. It's a great little device for the price that reflects the limitations such as low resolution and monochrome pass-through. Oh, god damn it, Valve. My controllers sometimes refuse to stay connected unless I reboot the whole headset, and getting them back on and getting them reconnected involves smacking them into each other, and funnily enough, now the right controller makes a strange rattling sound.
This is what I mean.
Meta, engineered misery, change this. Unless you have a decent gaming PC, start with that before jumping into VR. Maybe this isn't the best suggestion. Oh well, maybe in 2026, eh? Subscribe for more VR related content in the near future, because trust me, some of the VR stuff is actually worth your time. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.